We are live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy, C.O. Anthony, and my main man, Bryce Ward. What is going on, Bryce?
Same old, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm alive after a week of the flu. to, to all our fans, watchers, hate watchers, love watchers, please like, subscribe, and share our content. Drop comments below. We always respond when we're healthy enough to read. So today, we're going to dig into these NBA standings a little bit because we only have 5 weeks left in the regular season. And then we're going to have the MVP discussion. So, which I'm very ready to hear your opinion on this. But first, we have
so crazy. I can't believe we're almost through this season.
Yeah, it's about done, my man. It is about done. So let's talk about, of course, the Eastern Conference. First, since we are in the Eastern Conference, I'm going to read the top 6 to you. The Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the New York Knicks, the Orlando Magic, and the Miami Heat. I know what the answer is before I ask, but just for our viewers, what surprises you the most about the top 6 playoff teams currently in the Eastern Conference?
Well, the most surprising thing, is Philly not being there. But of course, with the injury of Embiid there, it adds a little context as to why. But before the season, we would have definitely had Philly up there. Honestly, I'm surprised that Cleveland has been able to take over the number 2 spot after the praise and all the excitement surrounding the Bucks early on in the season and before the season. I think also, of course, the Embiid injury also affects that as well. But honestly, it's Philly and Cleveland are the biggest surprises to me. I thought Cleveland would be up there, but not quite number 2. And then, of course, I have to go with my Magic. Being, right there in that 4 to 8th range that these other teams are going back and forth on. You got Knicks, Magic, Heat, Philly, and Pacers. That those could shuffle up daily, but the Magic staying and hovering around that spot is the last surprise for me, and I'm definitely not complaining. Avoiding the play-in will make me happy.
I didn't know if you were setting me up to say something good about the Magic, but I will give the Magic some props for what they're doing. So kudos to the Orlando Magic. I will say personally, I haven't talked about the Heat that much this year, but I will say we are in prime condition right now, knowing that we have the tiebreaker over Philly, Indiana, and Orlando should we end the season tied. So I'm pretty okay with where we are. But
well, it's a big improvement from last year, and the team overall has had a better regular season than last year.
Yes, and I will say this to give the Magic some love before I pivot back to Miami. Boston and Orlando and the Miami Heat are currently in the last 10 games the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference right now, so I will give those teams some love. And actually, Orlando is tied with Boston with an 8-2 record in the last 10, and Miami 7-3 in the last 10. Our last 2 losses, I don't even count those because we played against some good Western Conference teams, but I'll dig into that a little later.
Now, we got beat down by the Knicks in Madison Square Garden last night.
That was a bad loss, by the way. But that's a whole other topic. That was a bad loss,
dude. There was a lot of tension, and they really had some bones to pick with the Magic that game. I turned it off in the 3rd. I said I gotta go to bed. I can't. They blew this one. I knew that.
Yeah,
but
they beat shit out of y'all without their best player.
Well, you could argue Brunson's their best player now.
Brunson didn't play.
Yes, he did.
Did he? When I was watching the game, I did not see him out there. So they must have sat him early.
Yeah, he was just on. I mean, he played his minutes. You probably just saw him after they sat him the first time. No, he torched us.
Because I watched quarters 3 through 4.
Oh well, yeah, they might not have brought him back in at that point because but no, he played and started. He lit us up.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I didn't start that game. I finished it. Um, I want to say this. I haven't had, the basketball gods talk to me this season. I have not had one conversation with the basketball gods. Let me say that.
They
As,
forsake.
no, they haven't. No, they still love me. It hasn't happened yet. They're waiting, right? But as bad as I want, just for bragging rights, as bad as I want the Miami Heat to get that 4th seed, looking at that 3-6 matchup, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not gonna go into why I'm okay because we all know why I'm okay. And like I said,
You want it. You're not just okay with it. You
no, I'm
want
okay with
it.
it. I'm okay with it. I'm not even saying that the gods have predicted it yet because they have not. I have not spoken to the basketball gods, but I'm telling you, I would be okay with that 3-6 matchup. And let me just leave it there. Let me just leave it there. So let's
Wait, real
mosey.
quick. Speaking of which, do you think this is where do you think we see a shakeup in this top six by the end of the season? Or the shuffling in the six is fine, but do you see uh, Pacers or Philly bumping one of these out, or Knicks falling out, something like that?
Well, the wild card is Miami. The only reason why I said it is because we got 3 tiebreakers, right? So that's the wild card. I don't see Philly or Indiana moving into the top 6. The top 6 could shuffle between 4 and 6,
Mm-hmm.
but because the top 3 are pretty much going to be set. Now,
Yeah.
Milwaukee could ease up to number 2. Cleveland could drop to number 3, but the top 3 is set. Actually, the top 6 was set. And like I said, between 4 and 6 can shuffle just a little bit. But New York would have to pretty much win out to hold off Orlando and Miami. So, because I think they have a tiebreaker over us, and I think y'all have it over them.
Mm-hmm.
So we could see New York in that mix is kind of, I'm not gonna say they're the biggest wild card, but I don't know if they can hold off the Orlando Magic charge that you guys have been on since the All-Star break. Um, and then I will say, for the play-in, we don't know when Embiid is coming back. I think the Pacers, even though they just lost one of their young guys for the rest of the season, I still think the Pacers are in prime. They're the best team in that play-in, period. And I do see them coming out of that. I know you don't want to see Atlanta, but it looks like you're going to be okay with that. Because I would pick Chicago to beat Atlanta in one game. So to the Western Conference, let's see. The West leading Oklahoma City Thunder, who I saw the other night, tough game, but the Heat lost. The Minnesota Timberwolves have now lost Cat. The Denver Nuggets, who I believe are going to finish the season number 1.
Mm-hmm.
The Los Angeles Clippers, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Sacramento Kings. What's your surprise over in the top 6 of the Western Conference right now?
Probably the Pelicans if I had to go with any of them. Not like they're not talented enough to be there. It's just for one reason or another they've underperformed. You can put it on injury, put it on whatever. Minnesota and OKC have kind of been there all season, so I can't really say it's a surprise at this point. But New Orleans probably just because right there in that 7 to 10 range, you have Phoenix, Dallas, the Lakers, and Golden State. That's insane. That the play-in is going to be insane on that side. If New Orleans and Sacramento can keep their spots. I know most people would probably have had at least maybe Phoenix and the Lakers up higher, right? And probably Golden State higher. But the Lakers and Warriors have been playing better as of late. Phoenix, I think Devin Booker's still been out recently, so they've been dealing with injury woes all season. I still, we don't take them seriously, not as a real threat. Yeah, probably the Pelicans. I mean, the Kings had a lot of success last year. They've been playing good this year. Sabonis is a monster. So, yeah, I would pick the Pelicans as my surprise only because I think mostly the Lakers, Suns, and Warriors have kind of underperformed until recently in the season. So it's given a lot of room. But Zion, when Zion and Ingram and all those guys are healthy for the Pelicans, they've shown in the past to be a real problem. So it's surprising, but it's really not. It's just this season has been really interesting in the West because of the Lakers and Warriors, in my opinion. So Dallas is a real interesting team because they seem to be having extra issues lately on the defensive end. I mean, Luca and Kyrie are nuts together, but they've been having some issues from what I can see, and some heat directed at their coach again. So we'll see. They seem to have some kind of locker room or continuity issue every season that seems to prevent them from really bringing it together and making a really good deep run. So I don't know how I feel about Dallas, but who surprises you the most? My pick's the Pelicans, I guess.
I'm still shocked that from a long term view, OKC still shocks me. Because we knew they were going to be good. They had a lot of young talent, but I didn't know that they were going to take a leap this year.
Do
So,
you think
like,
they took almost like a step, kind of like the Magic have? I mean,
no,
they're a step above the Magic. I'm not
yeah,
comparing them. I'm saying,
yeah.
do you think they took more than one step this season? Though?
Yeah, see, I expected them to be where the Magic are in the East right now. I didn't expect them to lead the East. I'm sorry, lead the West, and them in Minnesota have been trading off most of the season with that. So the OKC Thunder were in line with the Orlando Magic, so they took a huge leap this year. With that said, when I look down at the 9-10 matchup for the play-in, which could be pretty much set, I really wish those two wouldn't play each other in the first play-in game. I wish it was kind of spread out a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think OKC could beat either one of them in a 7-game series. I just don't. I don't think Minnesota could beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. So that 9-8 matchup will have strong ramifications going forward with who wins and who sees OKC or Minnesota in the first round. If it stays the way it is, which again, I don't think it will because I think Denver's going to end up in that top spot, then whoever gets them is going to be demolished. But
Mm-hmm.
should it be OKC or should it be Minnesota, we're probably going to have a first round knockout by those teams, which would set you back kind of because, like, okay, we've led the West for the majority of the season, and then we get knocked down in the first round. Kind of like, Milwaukee last year, they never could get that shine back. So I don't know. I just don't believe in them. I just don't. And like I said, I got a first-hand view of OKC the other day, and we were beating them up until the fourth quarter, and then we blew it.
To me,
And
they're too young to have the experience to make a deep playoff run against. I mean, if you have to go up against Denver, you're out. That's just my. You're too young, and it's nothing against those teams. I'm just saying that you have to build that playoff experience. It's a separate thing altogether in my eyes as the regular season compared to the regular season. So Minnesota and OKC can have the best records if they want. It it just doesn't mean they're coming out of the West. So yeah, my pick's still Denver. I mean, Denver's right there. They're pretty much all tied right there, almost
yeah, it's half a
same
game.
record for
Yeah.
first. So yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I think Denver wins or takes over the first spot by the end of the season. And yeah, but I mean, at this point, who do you think has the best chance of coming out of the West outside of Denver? Say there's an injury, say something wacky happens. Who do you think's the second best team during the playoffs? Not right now.
Well, I mean, it kind of connects because before the Westbrook injury, even though he was coming off of the bench. I would have said the Clippers, but I just don't know with his injury because I don't know if he'll be back by the first round. And I still might say the Clippers because they have been firing on all cylinders lately. Kawhi's been healthy. Paul George has been healthy. James Harden is doing what he has to do. He had a Draymond Green triple-double the other night, like 10, 11, and 12. You know what I'm saying? But he had one. He was efficient. So, no, the Clippers are scary in a good way. The Clippers are really scary. And I feel bad for New Orleans because it's not going to work out the way they want to in the first round should they meet. And I'm going to go into Dallas a little later once we get into the MVP conversation because I'm a little over what's going on there. But I think the Clippers are the second best team in the West right now behind Denver.
That's what I was gonna say. Clippers.
Yeah, like I said, they just have to stay healthy. But again, should OKC of Minnesota end number one, they're going to be in a world of trouble between Golden State and the Lakers. They're not going to have a championship run, but they got one more series in them that they can knock out a good team. So, with that said, my early season MVP has fallen off a little bit because he got injured, but that was Tyrese Halliburton. Then, Joel Embiid woke up and was like, well, damn, he's still great. And then he went down. So we don't have a lot of people to really talk about for MVP. We do have some second tier players. No shots thrown at Luka, but second tier players. Luka, Jason Tatum, Shea, who is amazing, by the way. He always makes me smile. I was smiling the whole game the other night, by the way.
Halliburton goes down, and now all you're talking about is SGA. I see it. I see how you switch up.
It's okay, though, because Tyrese is my boy. Tyrese is my boy, okay? And the next year, my main man, LaMelo Ball, is going to be there, okay? Watch what I tell you. But with that said, so I'm not going to talk about Tyrese right now, but I do want to ask you this question, and then we'll get into the stats breakdown and things of that nature. And I'm so sorry that I forgot to mention Jokic, but we're going to get into him too. As of right now, I'm just going to throw out some names, and you tell me how serious they are for MVP. I'm going to start with Jason Tatum in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no, what do you think?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to give out like Nate. Okay.
No, not
yet. He should definitely be in the running for MVP this year. Top tier. I know how you feel about him, but he's up there. See, the real MVP for me is Jokic, and so that's why Tatum's in the running, SGA's in the running. That's fine. Throw Luka, Giannis, all those second tier guys in it, but for me, it's Jokic.
That's not what I asked you. We're gonna get there.
But you're judging me.
We're gonna get. I'm not judging you.
I know Tatum's in the running, and you're giving me the thumbs down. It's killing me.
Because he's overrated. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying.
That's fine. I would still pick him. He's on par with SGA for me on what they're doing for their team.
Did you see that info I sent you the other day where he's the worst on the team as far as making clutch baskets? He's the worst on his team. Did you hear about that?
Well, I saw a little bit of what you sent me, but I didn't get to watch the whole thing.
So the whole thing was about who's the most clutch Celtic in clutch time, okay? And of 4 players, Jason Tatum is the lowest, and he's the one that's always taking the shot. He takes the brunt of the shots in clutch time. So the whole conversation was around, okay, should he be the one taking the shot, or should someone else take the shot? And they ranked it between Jason Tatum, Jrue Holiday, Porzingis, and then Jaylen Brown. And the answer, because Porzingis just didn't have enough shots, but he was actually shooting 64%. That the answer as far as shot for shot was actually Jaylen Brown, who I always say is really the best player on the team. Skill wise.
Yeah.
No, skill wise, he's the best player on the team. Anyone can score as many points as Jason Tatum if they stand behind the 3-point line and shoots as much as Jason Tatum. That's what I'm going to say about that. Now, Boston has been having a good season. They've led the East for the majority of the season. They've done very well. But some of the important games that they needed to win, they have lost. They haven't figured out Denver yet, which is most people's on paper NBA Finals matchup. I don't know. And don't get me wrong, this is no shot at Boston because I don't think anybody's beating Denver right now in a 7-game series. But I haven't believed in Boston all year, and that's not going to change because, like I've told you offline, they don't have to go to the NBA Finals. They have to win the NBA Finals in order for me to take them serious, and I don't think that's going to happen this year.
Like, we had to put that and take them seriously into context because it's like, are they a good team? Yes. It's a title contention is a real different conversation. So it's just like, yeah, it's like you can take them seriously, but who's beating Denver? I don't know if I take any team seriously over Denver this season, if I'm being honest with you. I think Denver repeats.
1 second, sir. Yeah, Denver's going to repeat. Absolutely. They're definitely going to repeat. Should no one get hurt? It's always.
Yeah. I mean, if Jamal Murray goes down, then.
So, here's Jason Tatum's regular season stats.
We should also look up who is the most clutch player in the NBA this year if we're going to talk about MVP.
I'll look it up, but clutch doesn't equate to MVP.
I know that. But of the candidates we're talking about, I would be interested to know if one or two of them high up.
I would guess, and this is going to go against what I'm going to say later, but based on what I've seen this year, I would guess it would be Luka.
Yeah.
But I'm going to rip him later.
Maybe Jokic too, though. I've seen him hit a couple crazy shots.
So Tatum's averaging, we might as well say, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists for the season. And again, Boston has the best record in the NBA. We've seen this from him before. His numbers are similar. It looks like his rebounds have gone up just slightly by 1 over his career. You know how I feel about them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, because Jason Tatum has been vocal this year about the MVP, and he says that he thinks that the voters are holding his NBA Finals loss 2 seasons ago against him as far as the MVP conversation this year. So tell the viewers how you feel about that statement.
I think it's too far gone for the MVP voters to still be holding it against him. I guess that's just, I mean, in my opinion, it's probably something he's just telling himself, to rationalize in his head why maybe he's not getting the MVP look that he thinks he should at least. Boston's playing extremely well this year. People look at Tatum as the leader and best player on the team, whether or not you think that. I'm just saying that's the perception. So maybe he thinks it's all lining up, and he's not getting the attention that he thinks he should for it, or he's not getting the chatter around being MVP like he thought he would. It just seems weird, like a stretch to me. That was quite a few seasons ago now. I mean, in terms of how fast the NBA goes, it's easy to just move on. I don't think. I think outside of already winning the MVP, I don't think a lot of older mistakes really play into the current season. I mean,
unless you believe the hype that you are the golden boy of the NBA, that could prompt that response.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He definitely believes it. That's what he has to tell himself as to why he's not going to get it, because in his eyes, he believes he should get it. Because he's got that level of confidence about his game and himself, and that's how he looks at himself. So he 100% believes he should have it. But that's how he's rationalizing, in my opinion, that why he's not going to get it, or why he possibly might not get it. instead of using it as like a chip on his shoulder to go out there and prove people wrong, it seems like he's going to use it as an excuse. So we shall see.
He is averaging a career high 4.9 assists this season. Just saying. Just saying. You get the most looks on the team, you get the most attention on the team, and you can't even average a flat rate of 5 assists per game. And that's a career high. So he is passing more, but it's not enough. All right. So let's talk about
just real quick. Paolo year 2 is averaging 5, so I'll take that.
So let's talk about good job on that. My boy, look at that smile, Shea. All right. West leading Thunder, 31.2 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 6.5 assists as the starting point guard. What do you think about Shea's odds? Should he be a step above Jason Tatum as far as MVP, or are they equal?
If we're breaking down like the top 5 guys, in my opinion, he's one slot above. He's ahead of Tatum. He's probably behind Jokic, tied with Luka in my eyes, with second place. If Embiid was healthy, he'd be there. Giannis is. I just don't. It's more about Milwaukee this year than it is Giannis, in my opinion, pulling him down. I know they're still third, but it's just hasn't looked great. Giannis had a great season, but the team. It's actually the other reason why I think Luka gets pulled down a little bit is because of the team, not his personal performance. You know, it's how Dallas has went. That's one reason why OKC and SGA I rank him so high, because they're having a phenomenal season with him thriving. So actually, right behind Jokic, I would probably pick SGA as my second option for MVP. And then Luka third, Tatum fourth, Giannis fifth, kind of thing.
So your boy, Luka Doncic, coming off of 6 straight triple doubles, 34.7 points, 9 rebounds, and 9.8 assists. Luka is having.
What's been their record in that time frame of getting all those triple doubles?
I believe there are perhaps. Oh my God! The first game they won was against Miami. I believe they had lost 2 or 3 straight. Then they beat Miami, and then I believe they won their next game. Oh my God, I can't remember the exact number. I believe it's under 500 though in that stretch. Well, no, they won last night too. So it's probably, well, I mean, they beat Detroit. I mean, come on. Here is my eye test with Luka. Okay. As great of numbers that he pulls off, it still does not translate in the playoffs. And here's why. By the time the playoffs comes, he's absolutely gassed with his performances from the regular season. That's why it doesn't translate into the playoffs. His usage rate is so high, which is why their record is what it is. Now, this is going to sound stupid, but for people who don't know basketball, they're going to be like, how can you say that? Luka has to come off the fucking ball. He can't sustain this. he cannot sustain this. And the numbers look great, don't get me wrong. But Dallas has a lot of talented players to where Luka doesn't have to do this every night. And his triple doubles, by the way, have all been over like 30 points. Like, it's been crazy, crazy shit. But as you said, it doesn't translate into wins. Like, they're fucking, what, 8th right now? Luka has to look for fantasy. He's great. For fantasy he's great. But from real life basketball, Luka has to actually down his usage a little bit and utilize his teammates more. And the Dallas Mavericks would actually win more games, and he wouldn't be so gassed going into the playoffs. We've seen this from him now the last couple of years. And again, stats look great. He's in the MVP conversation. They will not win if he continues to play like this. They will never win if he continues to play like this. I don't know how he does it. I have
Do you
no.
think this is a Luca issue? Because it seems like no matter who they put around him, he does his thing. Or do you think it's a lack of Dallas having the right people around him? Because so far, it seems like it's a Luca issue.
It is, and that's what I'm saying. It's a 1,000% Luka issue, and it's gonna take. Jason Kidd's a good coach. He got Giannis on the map. I get that. Rick Carlisle was actually the coach that they ran out of Dallas that kind of had Luka a little bit more under control than what he is right now. Okay. Luka won that power struggle. Rick Carlisle was moved out. But look what he's doing in Indiana right now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, his second stint in Indiana. Someone has to get to the Dallas brain trust and say, hey, we have to lower his usage rate, and then we'll win. But as long as the powers that be in Dallas, which isn't Mark Cuban anymore, as long as the powers that be in Dallas let Luka run shot, no one's going to be able to tell him, you need to put the ball down. No one's going to be able to tell him that. And we see Jason Kidd's not doing it right now because since Rick Carlisle has left, his usage ratage has gone up, but his playoff success has. You get what I'm saying? And like I said, it's great. Looking at these numbers, bro, it's fucking fantastic looking at these numbers. But Jokic's numbers are similar, which we're going to get into next.
Mm-hmm.
But you see a lot of success there versus with what Luka is doing in Dallas, because Jokic does, even though they, don't get me wrong, they both move the ball. They both average high assists. But as far as being as ball dominant, Jokic is not nowhere near as ball dominant as Luka is. Now Luka's the point guard too. Let's say that. We know he's point guard. But
Right.
You have to come off, dude. You have to come off that ball. He has to
It's
come
almost
off.
for different reasonings, or different reasons. You said the same thing about LeBron James on the Lakers. Now, LeBron James not putting up MVP numbers, but for his age, he's putting up amazing numbers. But like you said, he has to defer to his teammates now if he wants to win games.
If he wants to win games, right. I love you. Got love LeBron. He gives us content all the time.
You saw Jimmy Bus hanging all over him on the.
I saw it. I was just like that visual there with her and Linda Rambis. I was just like, why do we get visuals like this? Just so, some people threw their televisions out the window when they saw that. I'm just gonna say that. Some people in the South threw their TVs out the window. So let's take a look at Nikola Jokic, the reigning and defending NBA champion. Lord, I can't spell it this morning, apparently. There we go. Nikola Jokic. So let's look at this. 26 points, 12.2 rebounds, and then 9.2 assists. I think we would both agree that Nikola Jokic should be, despite what the writers want to do, because they're sick of voting for him, should be the MVP this year. So, what are your thoughts on Jokic? And I mean, we kind of just had this conversation, but I want to know how you feel about it. On Jokic's numbers compared to Luka's numbers.
Well, I mean, the biggest difference I would say is definitely, is points, right? But like you said, it's not translating to the success that Denver has. So, and he has the ball in his hands less control, technically. It's just, I think the fact that he's 1-2, is the main reason why he's not getting quite the attention. But maybe it's they've had so much success now. They won a championship. He's won MVPs. It's just like people are just waiting for them to do it again. It's like less exciting now. They've done everything technically now. So it's less of the sexy pick. Um, the points just being, I mean, you're talking 5-6 points average lower than SGA and Luca, and the points. That's why SGA is such an intriguing option. I feel like is the team success plus the points plus the flashiness, the style of play. He's a real he's a real fun option. But Jokic has such a command of the game without being the point guard. Without, I mean, he has the ball in his hands a lot. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the one in charge of bringing it up the court and getting it to himself.
Right.
He can't pass it to himself, so it's just different. For a big man to do what he does is a little more impressive to me than a guard getting rebounds. The fact that the big man can make the pass and control the offense once he gets it down in the paint and do whatever he wants to with it. It's just impressive. Yeah, I guess the only thing bringing him down is the points, but like you said, the success and the way they win puts him above Luca for me. SGA just hasn't really. I guess it shouldn't play into this award, but I guess I need to see more from Oklahoma City in the playoffs before I guess he's my MVP. For me, it's just Denver and Jokic combined are so dominant that I lean towards Jokic, even if the stats say maybe SGA because of the points and the team success. Maybe SGA should get it, but my heart's going towards Jokic.
On paper, Jokic should get it. If OKC can maintain that number one spot, Shea's going to get a few votes. Okay? Just because the Jokic fatigue, which I don't believe in it, but a lot of people do. But Shea would definitely get a lot of votes should OKC clinch that number one spot. If Denver does it, it's a wrap. It's just a fucking wrap. Like, there's no one who can convince me that Jokic isn't the MVP, especially since we haven't gotten a full season of Joel Embiid. And it just like it brings up the argument as far as, okay, this rule where you have to play at least 65 games to be considered for the MVP for any award, any postseason award. Look at what's happened to Philly since Embiid went down. And we both absolutely love Tyrese Maxey. We love him to death. But look at how the wheels fell off. Look at how Philly dropped when Embiid went down. Like a rock, right? Now, I can make the argument, and we haven't really seen it, but we can make the argument that even if Jokic was to go down, the drop wouldn't be as steep as it was with Philly with Embiid going down. That's what the MVP means to me. The real MVP is in Philly right now. But unfortunately, his knee gave out on him again.
I can go with that. Yeah.
That's the real MVP right now. Because when he turned it up, like week 2 or 3 of the season, killed it. Okay, Embiid killed it.
With that said, OKC would fall off without SGA.
Absolutely. Which is why it's important for them to get the maintain this number one spot, and keep Denver off. And even if we look at a player like Cat or Anthony Edwards, right? As great as the season Minnesota has had, they're not in this conversation. And we're not downgrading them, but they're not in this conversation just yet. Okay. We know Cat's soft and Anthony Edwards has some lady issues off the court, but he just had a baby this week. Congratulations. What I don't know is if this is the kid that he wanted to have an abortion or not. That's what I don't know. But he became a father this week. Wrap it up, young man. Wrap it up. So
yeah, he's young. He's still got time to live.
Do you have any final thoughts on the MVP conversation? I think we're in a I think we both agree that Nikola Jokic should be the MVP.
Hmm.
Um,
It was Embiid before he got hurt. Jokic now, I think.
I will say one more thing, and I'll ask your opinion on it, and then we'll wrap it up. His first 2 years in the league, first 2 or 3 years, I had him in fantasy. So I already had my eyes on Luka. I'm at the point where I need you to do something.
Hmm.
We know how great you are. We know how great you've been. I've been a fan of yours from day one. You don't have scrubs on your team. I mean, your number two guy is Kyrie Irving. A lot of people would take Kyrie Irving as their number two guy. You have shooters around you. I know you mentioned some issues. I need Luka to make a deep playoff run. Now, I said the other day I need Luka to get to the finals. With Denver lurking out there, I just don't think Dallas can get to the finals. But I need Luka to get to the conference finals this year. Where are you at as far as what you need from Luka? Because I'm kind of sick of Luka at this point.
Well, he's just he's so young. I don't know if I need anything yet, but I will say the emergence of OKC and Minnesota and the players that lead those teams have, I think, put more pressure on Luka because they're kind of all in that same boat now, and they're starting to have more success. Where Luka's kind of sitting middle of the pack every time now, and I don't believe in them to make a playoff run. So I still don't think we're going to see what we want to see from Luka. Almost, okay, so Jason Tatum is like a step above them where their team is actually having success, right? But Luka reminds me a lot of how I look at Devin Booker now. Devin Booker is supposed to be, this phenomenal player and he does all these things, but they can't do anything. They can't win anything in the playoffs. So it's like we've had Devin Booker, we've had Luka for, enough seasons now to where they haven't really won anything substantial. So it's easy to want to move on because SGA, OKC, Cat and Anthony Edwards on Minnesota, the success they've been having, there's just not enough room to care about Luka. Lakers still there, Warriors still there, Clippers are the ultimate wild card. The Kings are an up and coming young team. The Pelicans are really the only other odd team in that mix. Dallas with what they have with Luka. Same for Phoenix with Devin Booker and KD. They should all be high. They should all be doing better. So Luka, Phoenix, Dallas, all these guys, these two teams specifically, it seems like they're underperforming compared to what their star talent really could offer. And so OKC and Minnesota has really put pressure on these other younger talents and teams because
Yeah.
they leapfrogged them. They leapfrogged them. See, Boston and Tatum's a little bit different because they're number one. So even though it's championship or bust, and I don't think anybody wins a championship, I don't think anybody beats Denver. So Tatum has had more playoff success than Booker and Luka, but we talked about this offline the other day. I mean, I think Luka is probably the youngest out of those three guys specifically, but they're in a dangerous position because of this amazing young talent we have coming up. You got, like I just mentioned, Kings, you got OKC, you have Minnesota, you have Orlando, you have Indiana with Halliburton. You have these teams that in the next 3 to 4 seasons might really push a power struggle in each conference. And these guys have been around long enough, Booker, Tatum, Luka, to establish themselves, and they're not. They're letting it slip to this next younger group of players. and they're on the verge of coming out of, you could argue, their prime without anything really to show for it.
Here's the age numbers, and you might have noticed this, and the viewers might have noticed this, but I was cycling through the players real quick just to see how old they are. Booker's 27.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum's 26. Luka's 25. And Shea's 25. 2 of the 4 have gone to the NBA Finals. 3 years ago, Devin Booker was the best player on his team that went to the NBA Finals. Now, once they got there, they dropped a big egg against Milwaukee because they should have won that series, and they choked. But Devin Booker did lead his team to the NBA Finals. Jason Tatum, of course, we know has gone to the NBA Finals, as has been to the conference finals the majority of his career. Shea is just ascending to this level. Even though he's been good for a long time, he's just ascending to this level. And then you have Luka, who's been at this level for a while. The only thing he's missing is an NBA Finals appearance. So there's 2 years separating these 4 players. And that's why I am hard on Luka, because it's like you said, he is kind of being leapfrogged right now. Let's see how this playoffs turn out. On paper, the Thunder should go further. Will they? I don't know. If the Thunder are eliminated in the first round, I need Dallas to make a deep playoff run, because that's going to be Luka's only shot for me to take him serious going forward, because he is too talented. His team is actually talented for them to be where they are right now. Phoenix, yes, they should be higher than where they are right now. But we all know Kevin Durant's going to throw you excuses. Bradley Beal, who has never been in this position before, is going to throw you all the excuses in the world. Okay?
Let me ask you, who do you think goes farther this year, Dallas or Phoenix?
Wow.
Because I know how you feel about Phoenix. There's no belief in it whatsoever. So if you think they're going to be better than Dallas,
I will never again pick Phoenix to win an NBA championship. Ever again.
No, but what I said was just make it farther.
It just depends on the matchup, and I don't remember how they look right now. I'm looking at it right now. Phoenix is 7. They're tied with Sacramento, though. So Phoenix can actually get into the top 6. Right now, Dallas and Phoenix. So here's the deal. As of right now, Dallas and Phoenix may play each other in the play. Okay? It would be devastating for either team to lose that playing game. Now, they would still have a shot to move forward, but it would be devastating for one of those 2 teams to get knocked out early. Absolutely devastating. Phoenix has more star power. Technically, on paper, they have more talent, but they don't have a bench. Dallas does have a bench. 1 through 15, Dallas is actually the most complete team between the 2. So I would expect Dallas to move forward in that. If not, they might have to look at blowing that thing up.
All the play-in teams right now, it's devastating for all of those teams to lose in the play-in tournament right now.
Not for Golden State. They have equity
because of their success. Everybody expects them to be in the playoffs, whether or not this season people have been paying attention. Yes, that's not surprising or devastating. I'm just saying, in terms of the last decade or so, yeah, it's surprising.
All dynasties come to an end, and we can tell they're at the end of the rope. So it's not as surprising for me if Golden State was to lose. I don't think they can beat the Lakers. The Lakers are just too. If the Lakers play big, they'll beat Golden State. The Lakers are too fucking big. And I'm not going to bet against LeBron in one game. I'm not going to do it. But of the 4 teams in the play-in, Phoenix has the star power. They have the names, right? But Dallas and the Lakers are the two most complete teams. It would be devastating for Dallas because they're younger to have a setback right now. It would be absolutely devastating. Dallas has the most to lose of those four teams. Like I said, Phoenix is going to hit you with it. Kevin Durant's going to hit you with every motherfucking excuse in the book, and I don't think people take Phoenix serious anyway. But Dallas, man, Luka has to. He has to, man.
And let's be real though, from from 6th to about 9th, there's only a game or two, or well, a couple games, 3 games, two and a half games, however you want to say it. There's not many games separating all these teams. So just like the East, things could shake up in a major way in, just a week.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the standings a lot until we have the playoff matchup set, and it's going to be very exciting. We'll have to stay up and watch some Western Conference games. I haven't watched a lot this year, so I have to stay up and watch these games. But on that note, we're going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation podcast. I hope all our fans enjoyed the rawest and most unfiltered NBA podcast around. Please like, subscribe, and share our content. Drop comments below. Everyone stay safe, and we are out.